YouTube. It's Buddha Gem here, and I just had to respond to Gabe the Archangel's latest video, Switch. In it, he asks a question. He poses the idea that Democrats for 130 years have been supporters of free trade, and Republicans have been staunch supporters of protectionism, and all of a sudden there's a switch. And he says some interesting things like conservative businesses love open borders and open markets, and the biggest opponents of open borders are unions. Gabe, what am I going to do with you, bud? Oh, I know you're trying. You're one of my favorite guys out here, so I'm gonna try and help. Let me see here. One, I guess the best place to start, really, is simply with the notion that if the politicians are calling something, the Clean Air Act, chances are it's making your air dirtier. If it's fair taxes for Americans, chances are we're getting screwed. So when they talk about free trade, your little antenna should go up. Free trade has really nothing to do with free trade. Share with you some insight from one of my favorite political analysts, Michael Parenti. International free trade agreements set up international trade councils that are elected by no one, are accountable to no one, operate in secrecy without conflict of interest restrictions, and with the power to overrule just about all labor, consumer, and environmental laws, and all public services and regulations in all signatory nations. What we're all experiencing with GATT, NAFTA, FTAA, GATS, and WTO is deglobalization, an ever greater concentration of political economic power in the hands of an international investor class, a global coup d'etat that divests the people of the world of any trace of protective democratic input. Now, the point of all that, one, study about free trade. It has nothing to do with free trade. It's about protecting this global investor class. It's about, things like protection of, property rights, investment rights. It has nothing to do with free trade. So when you try to use this anachronistic argument going back 130 years, forget about that, okay? Unions are not, you said, well, unions are against open borders. Well, it's not that they're listen, let me put it this way. Why does the guy that comes from some little village in Mexico to work here work for so much less? Is it because he's just born to make less money? No. There's a reason that, we have certain expectations as Americans for what we're going to earn. You don't understand it, maybe, but it is our labor history. It's 150 years of struggle, of working people joining together and saying, listen, we're going to take off Saturday and Sunday. We're going to work 8 hours. If I get hurt on the job, you, the employer, are going to pay for it. You're going to provide me with a pension. You're going to provide me with health care. These are things that they didn't just come out of a vacuum. It's part of the working class struggle, and you inherit that. Some people just think it's their God-given right, or they were born into this. But it's a continual struggle. The problem unions have with the undocumented worker is we can't organize them because of legal restrictions. We can't bring them into our union because of their, status. The investor class doesn't want open borders for labor. They do. You have to understand that. They want open borders for capital. so that capital can go and flow to wherever the cheapest labor is. Now, if you had the same open borders for labor, it would be a much different picture, wouldn't it? Because then capital wouldn't be able to just jump around the globe the way it does. It would even the field a little. It's important that you understand that free trade agreements have nothing to do with free trade. Most estimates are as high, or in the 90-95% range. Most trade, what we consider trade, is internal to large multinational corporations. It's a corporation like GM, moving something from one country to another country to another country. Getting its raw materials from here, moving them over here, having something made, having them shipped to maybe a plant in the United States, and then having that assembled into a car. That's the majority of trade is internal to major corporations. Okay, there's very little real trade, at least what we consider trade, going on. These agreements have little or nothing to do with that type of trade. So there is no switch. And another thing I'd encourage you to think about. I mean, I know you think there's this real, I don't know if you do, but like Democrats and Republicans. And, Democrats believe this and Republicans believe that. It's a hoax. It's all smoke and mirrors. I mean, the Democrats and the Republicans are two factions, two parts of the ruling class in this country. That's what they represent. Okay? And there are real differences among those two factions on how to advance the empire, how to protect global capitalism, how to deal with internal threats and external threats. There are real differences, but they're basic and fundamental principles that guide them are completely the same. They don't question the role of United States empire, our need for military supremacy, our ability to do whatever we want, wherever we want, to whomever we want. It's important that you realize that when you really get down to the bottom line, there's not a huge difference between a Hillary Clinton and a George Bush, or a Barack Obama and a Rudy Giuliani. There's personality differences, and that's what you'll hear a lot in the media. But don't get fooled, and don't be fooled by this free trade BS. Look into it. Check out somebody like Michael Parenti or Noam Chomsky. Take care.